Hey folks, John Cantera, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter here. Welcome to another episode of Stop the Scam. Kate will be along with us in just a few minutes. In the meantime, though, today we're going to be having a few discussions primarily aimed at a lot of dispatchers out there. And dispatchers, if you really want to scale your operation up to be something great, you're going to want to listen to our guest today. Before we go and do that, let's go ahead and start off with our sponsor love for today. If you're out there and you're new to this business, the only way you can survive is by knowing your costs. Manage your costs better so you can bid better with AccuBid Pro.
Do you know your cost per mile? Have you been hitting your profit margins? Do you struggle with bidding in a way that is both profitable and competitive? Would it be worth it to have all this information right in front of you? By calculating your cost per mile, AccuBid Pro helps you stay profitable in an industry still struggling to recover. In order to calculate your cost per mile, AccuBid Pro asks you questions about your business expenses. Our goal is to help you understand what you need to keep operating in order to keep up with the game and maintain your business. Enter your origin and destination, and we show you what you should bid based on your personal cost per mile in order to be profitable, even including a more detailed breakdown of each bid. Download the app today and get your 30-day free trial of AccuBid Pro, available on the App Store and Google Play. Bid smarter, bid faster, bid better with AccuBid Pro.
And there's Kate. Kate, how you doing this week?
I'm all right. Today wasn't bad at all. It was not bad.
I didn't have a really bad day either. I had all of my same day stuff done by 9 a.m. And I have most of tomorrow already booked out. I even have somebody booked on Wednesday already. So things are kind of going pretty good for me too. So this hasn't been too bad. But we also have a special treat today. Our good friends and partners in the Lounge Media Group, the guys from the Logistics Lounge, Pedro and Hunter. How you boys doing?
Terrible day today. I hate Mondays. I'm on the Garfield method. No, I'm just kidding. I like Mondays. They're just not long enough, it seems. But
hey, you know what? This particular Monday is one of the best Mondays I could have in many, 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 many years. Go Birds! Philadelphia Eagles dominating last night. And if I just gave away the spoiler to people who haven't had the chance to watch the game yet, too bad. It was a great one.
Somebody needs to check in on Trey Griggs. The last picture I saw, he was in a hotel in Vegas with old Robert Bain out there, and all he had on was a towel. So I don't know what's going on here, what bets were lost, but, I hope Patrick Mahomes is having a terrible day. And, honestly, not a bad day to have a bad Monday. Like, it is, I think it's the most unproductive Monday in America. So everybody's all hungover. So I don't know. Not me though.
I can't say I'm hungover, but boy, it was definitely a fun game. If you were a Philadelphia fan, you enjoyed every second of that one. Oh, Pedro, what you up to, buddy?
Nothing, bro. Nothing. Just I'd say normal Monday. It was a normal Monday. Like broker stuff, but had to get up, this morning to go buy a deep freezer because our deep freeze went out last night at 10 o'clock at night, and nothing was open. So, we had to take our deep freeze and shove it in the garage because it got cold last night. And we were like, man, please stay frozen. So that was it. That was excitement. Otherwise, just moving loads, man. That's it. Normal stuff. And yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I had a stand-up deep freeze when I moved from Savannah to Pensacola, and we kept everything in it. I just threw it in the back of a 26-foot box truck, and it sat in there for a day and a half. And when we opened that thing up, everything was still rock solid frozen. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth.
All of our stuff was still frozen too, man. It only got down to 42 last night. But when we realized it went out, we didn't open it. We just put it in the garage. But man, that deep freeze, dude, I need to go look at the manufacturer date, but we were given that 12 years ago. And that thing, I'm going to take a picture and text it to you, John. It literally looks like someone kicked that shit off the back of a U-Haul like 15 years ago when we found it on the side of the road. Like it's totally what it looks like, but our neighbor gave it to us. And hey, man, that thing lasted, dude. I bought a brand new one from Sam's for 300, 200 bucks, 300 bucks. I don't know, something like that. And it was bigger. Yeah.
Wow,
I should have got to stand up. I should have got to stand up though. We do want one of those. My wife was saying that today that we should get a stand up.
Mine is still sitting in my storage locker. It's been there for 4 years now. So hopefully it still runs.
Dude, it probably does, man. Freezers are like the most simplest appliances, man. You know what I mean? They're the simplest things, dude.
Well, I tell you, aside from being frozen this winter and getting 9 inches of snow dumped on me here in Savannah, or in Pensacola, rather, we definitely have some things to cool down the market and to help these dispatchers do things the right way. If you have big dreams as a dispatch service and scaling up to be a full-service logistics company, this is the guy you need to talk to. So I'm proud to bring up to the stage Chad Ainesworth with PMA. Chad, it is so good to have you with us. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thank you.
So first off, and we ask this of everybody, who is Chad? How did you get to where you're at, and where are you headed?
Yeah, in short, it's a very simple answer. I've always loved working in the transportation industry. I've always had a passion for moving freight. Hashtag Move America. And as I grow older and my family grows, Chad got tired of working for people. And so what started PMA used to be a side gig. Working as a freight broker or a full-time dispatcher. I had a truck or two here and there that I would just dispatch, make a little extra cash on the side and pay for vacations, groceries there, and harder times. But when I was pushed to the limit, I decided to go out on the independent agency route in a brokerage. But that takes time, and so my wife and I talked, and we thought, well, if we just get one or two more trucks, then that'll give me work and a little bit of a financial foundation to build a brokerage. And man, what I learned just in seeking that truck or two was that there's a lot of dispatching services out there. A lot. I'm sure every new authority who gets 100 calls a day understands that. And most of those are out to do harm in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's as simple as they don't care what your overall profit looks like, as long as they get to bill their percentage, they're happy. And so that kind of created a new goal in mind. Obviously, I still work the brokerage, and that's grown and doing well. But I learned that there needs to be a real focus to a desired space in this industry, and that is to find good dispatchers. Of course, there are great services out there. I've talked to a few folks that offer a solid service. Obviously, we're on a chat here with a couple of you guys now, but it's hard when out of 100 phone calls, 99 of those are just someone who's going to do bad for your business, and so I wanted to create not only a brand that could be trusted, but an operation that could be easily reached, and that's what we're setting out to do. We want carriers to trust that we're here to help them. We want brokers to know that we're here to do good business, conduct good business with them on behalf of our carriers. We're here to establish those relationships, and our goal is not to retain carriers long term. It is actually to teach new carriers how to operate, how to manage their funds, how to build relationships, and then help them become self-sufficient so they don't need us anymore. If they want to stick around, that's great. We're not going to say no to that. But and so that's what we're set out to do. We're coming up on a year end. We have, I believe I counted this morning, 23 authorities, over 60 trucks that we're dispatching right now. And we have 3 dispatchers, had 4, back to 3 right now for the short term. I still dispatch, of course, myself occasionally. In most cases, I'm just there to put fires out. But Yeah, that's who I am. That's what I'm here to do, is just to create a brand that can be trusted across the industry. Um, there is an obvious desire for an outsourced service, even amongst new carriers, just getting bad information. I spend my days looking at Facebook and seeing folks asking questions and get nothing but negativity, condemnation, or just not getting the help that they need. And that is what opens the door for the topic we're talking about today here, is fraud. It creates desperation and vulnerability, and unfortunately, there's many variables to blame here, but one of those is the simple fact that it's hard to find help when you're starting, when you have questions. And so, amongst everything that PMA is doing, we're also here for that. We don't want to just bring on new clients and help them. We want to help educate everyone, give everyone the tools that they need to vet a dispatch service, vet a startup, the start consultation services I found. To just ask the proper questions, know the proper information, know what you're looking for, and know what to avoid.
You talk about trying to educate new people coming into this industry. How young is the newest authority you currently dispatch for?
Well, he got his authority letter Thursday, and
Holy
so
cow.
we already have him loaded. He's already heading out, but yeah, we have one new authority from Thursday. So we, and of course, naturally, one of the first calls, one of the first statements always made to me on that phone is, "Hey, man, I was told I can make this much money as an authority, and I want to be home every night." And so, before we work with someone, we have a conversation about realistic expectations. Very most important conversation we have throughout the 12-month contract with us. But and so, as long as they are willing to adapt, um, yes, it's harder work. The first 90 days are extremely difficult, not just for my team who's finding the freight, but for you, for our carriers, our clients who have to maintain their business for the first 90 days. But is it impossible? Absolutely not. Does it always happen on day one? No. But is there a team out there who's willing to dedicate the time and resources to finding you the best that there is for your certain circumstances? PMA is one of those partners.
Yeah, my hat's off to you because I've been dispatching now for about 5 years, and I can tell you right now, when I've got one, I don't talk to people who just call me out of the blue. That usually includes a referral. So I never have to advertise. Referrals are always what comes my way, and I am at the point now where I don't have to take very young authorities. I've got well-aged authorities that have great safety records coming to me, and that makes my life so much easier. So I've been able to pick and choose, but having the guts and the drive to continue to push with new authorities and as difficult as it is to dispatch them. I've done it. I know. I remember how difficult it was, and it's getting worse every day. My hat's off to you, sir. That is unbelievable that you're able to pull that off, in some form or fashion. What I love that you're talking about is the discussion of expectations, reasonable expectations. And I don't know how many times I've tried saying this, and it probably frustrates the heck out of you as it does me. When I go into Facebook, I see some of those trucking groups, and you see all the ads. Oh, take a box truck, you'll make $7,000 a week. And, oh, come on. And then my favorite is when they say we have high-paying loads. The very first thing I put in the comments is, "What's your broker MC?"
Right.
Dispatchers, you don't have loads. You have trucks. You have to find the loads. Come on, guys.
Absolutely.
The stupidity that I see out there. But the problem is with 700, 800 new carrier authorities being granted every week, that is a ready pool of new suckers. I'm sorry, carriers, new suckers out there ready to be sucked in by some of these hooks that these guys are throwing out there. I'm glad somebody's out there trying to help fight that, because it's insane. Good on you, sir.
Absolutely. So Just a fefew points there. Definitely don't need to take on a new authorities, but that's kind of what started PMA. So that's what we're doing. Our passion is to help those new folks because realistically, you have two drivers that are constantly talked about the new folks and the vets. Well, the old school drivers are retiring. They're getting off the roads, right? We need to prepare a new generation of drivers, of transporters to haul this freight. Our supply chain, we learned during the strikes, the ILL strikes on the East Coast, we have a fragile supply chain. And a big part of that, the biggest part of that, is the trucks. So let's not be so quick to deter new startups. Let's help them. And that's what PMA wants to do. Apologies. There was a second point I had in my mind there, but I just the passion took over for the new startups.
Oh, well, that's one of the fun things about
we'll
live podcasts. We those balls get dropped every now and again. Now, of course, fraud is one of the biggest concerns that I personally have.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I started this show. Kate and I both have a background in dealing with fraud in the industry, especially from a dispatcher perspective. What do you train your dispatchers to do to help recognize some of the fraud out there to keep your carriers safe?
With that guy, there's a lot of information I will not disclose on a live forum like this, just because the one thing PMA does not want to do is hand out a playbook to scammers. And so I'll try to answer your questions the best I can.
As general as possible.
And so they're trained. They're trained. They ask questions. They review every little piece of information. And we do talk about every little possible discrepancy we find. We see this on a daily basis. We find it on a daily basis ourselves. And PMA isn't one to hide from the fraud. We do not. We don't ask our carriers to run away from it. We actually use those opportunities to expose the fraud. Richard, I see Richard Chase here posting. He's one of my clients. Love Richard, love his team, his family. His son's one of his drivers. Love him. Richard actually came to us. So one of the partners with that particular client of ours, he owns a brokerage, and so through his brokerage operations, we connected with them. We had the truck, they had the freight, we connected, but it wasn't actually their brokerage we connected to. It was a double broker, and we saw that quickly on the rate confirmation. There was the red flags we were looking for. There was the communication that was off. We saw it right away. Instead of making phone calls and run away from this, we sent our truck in to pick it up. We had the freight secured. We knew that freight was getting delivered. Now we started making the phone calls. And just through that, this gentleman who is a part owner of our client's company said these dispatchers clearly know how to find the fraud, know how to avoid it, know how to handle it. And so we ended up, over the course of weeks, through conversations, negotiations, we've now developed a partnership that is just flourishing. I believe they started with us with 2 trucks, and I think I counted, I want to say 11 today. This morning, but yeah, we're very attentive. We do not take the easiest possible fines. We don't take paperwork and just brush it off because the load's going to get handled. We're constantly overseeing every bit of the transportation services being provided by our clients. Carrier picks up. We personally review the paperwork. And I'm not going to tell you what you're looking for. Of course, we can have that on a private conversation. If you're questioning that, please reach out to me. But yes, just heavy reviews, lots of conversation, lots of correspondence, and question everything.
I have gotten to the point now as a dispatcher that I agree. I question absolutely everything. All of my drivers always send me their paperwork immediately upon pickup, and pictures. And even though the driver is supposed to verify the BOL information with the load, I'm doing the same thing visually based on the pictures that I'm seeing, and I'm asking questions about it. And then before they ever get to the pickup, One of the other things I do, and I've shared this publicly before, so I don't mind talking about it now. When I get a rate confirmation in my hand, regardless of who it is, I'm calling somebody else at the brokerage to verify it. There's no two ways about it. If it's a larger, medium or large brokerage, I'm calling the corporate office. Because somebody at the corporate office, usually accounting, will verify whether or not the load exists and who the carrier is. And I can, for a smaller brokerage, I usually can get a hold of somebody else in the office, to be able to provide that kind of verification. And if not, well, hey, there are other ways that I can reach out and verify it. But I always verify every rate confirmation I get my hands on. And that's because of how pervasive a lot of this fraud is. There's so much impersonation going on right now that verification is the only way to live, in my opinion.
Absolutely, that's half the job. That's half the battle right there. Is just confirming you're working with the right folks.
Absolutely. I know Kate's run into a bunch of bad guys lately herself. Actually, I think she's the one. Weren't you the one who originally started dealing with bad carriers, screwing with owner operators through our friend out in Texas?
Yeah, because it started off with this one guy who was sent my way by one of my other girls, and his name was Zachary. It was a really weird situation. He was a young guy. He was like 21 years old and super green and had really no idea like what he was getting himself into. I even talked to his parents because he lived at home with his parents, and his parents were like talking to me about all this stuff that happened, and I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, it all started with that one guy, and then you got somebody that came to you, and we had ended up like having a conversation about this carrier that was like scamming their drivers, and I'm like, wait a minute, who are you talking about? And you told me, and I'm like, that's who I'm talking about. So it was super weird. And then we ended up like digging into it, and there were just a ton of people that had been like screwed over by them. But yeah, that's how it started. It started a little over a year ago, actually.
Yeah, we have come across so many scams on our own as dispatchers. But we have had a lot of people since we started the show a year ago reporting scams to us that we've been able to chase back down and try to help other people. I think the big problem is that a lot of dispatchers that are out there today are either don't know or don't know how to try to protect their carrier force, and that is
Absolutely.
really where the problem is. Whether we're talking about foreign dispatchers, and don't get me wrong, I know great foreign dispatchers, I really do, but I also know a lot of really bad ones. So I mean, dispatchers are part of it. There are bad carriers out there, but for all intents and purposes, if you've got a really good dispatcher, the only thing you have to worry about is the impersonation. I think the impersonation
Absolutely.
is the biggest thing that we have to watch for. How often do you come across cases like that in your daily work, or are your folks skilled enough that they're able to avoid it before it happens?
Just impersonation?
Yeah.
I'd say as a general guidance daily, we have obviously brokers call us. Looking for trucks. I even as a dispatcher, no owned authority, get calls about our services daily. And I love these calls. This is why I ask questions. I don't send a contract out on the first conversation. And it is because I got vetting to do myself as a dispatcher to make sure I'm working with a legitimate carrier. Numerous calls are clearly from fraudulent or unreal. I don't know, non-legit dispatch services. Clearly just trying to figure out how we're doing, what we're doing. what the structure is. They want to hear the conversation, I'm sure, to learn what we're saying, how we're selling. And so I'm very wary of even having that first conversation. The moment my phone rings, there's a guard up, and it's not up to me to sell my services per se. It's also up to you to bring that guard down so we can talk about business. Yeah, impersonation's a big issue. I think the biggest issue we face in this industry, and this is from the services I offer from PMA Transportation Management, my brokerage, PMA Global Logistics. The biggest issue I see that kind of opened the floodgates of fraud is again, I said it earlier, but the vulnerability of a new carrier and the desperation of needing help. Because this industry has been so quick to turn backs on newer startups that they're trying to get their help everywhere, and that's vulnerability. And so, scammers are just saying, "Well, cool, give me your zip code, give me your documents," and they're quick to do it. New carriers are very quick to hand up those 4 documents that will destroy their business and destroy others. And so there's absolutely, when I first started this business, before I developed a real onboarding structure, I can't tell you how many sales conversations started with an email just saying, "Hey, I need services. Here are my documents." Like they haven't even talked to me and they're already sending me their onboarding documents. And so obviously that right there, I mean, if makes it too easy. I hate to say it, but we've kind of created a legitimate industry in itself just by making help so hard that it creates that vulnerability.
Yeah, as much as I like a broker or a carrier who is that forward with trying to be an open book to attract service, yeah, the impacts given to the wrong person is absolutely devastating, unbelievably devastating. I don't know how many of your clients came to you after being defrauded by either dispatchers or by being associated with being owner operators leased onto other carriers who defrauded them. But I mean that this whole thing is absolutely rampant, and it's not just.
Absolutely.
I think desperation is the best way to put it. A lot of these carriers, we know the rates suck. We know that a lot of carriers are running on razor thin margins, and everyone's trying to find a way to make an extra dollar here, an extra dime there, and cut costs wherever they can. But a lot of times that leads to the fraud that we're seeing out there. How many times have you come across, and I'm saying in general for everyone in the room here, how many times do you come across a carrier who has 3 or 4 trucks and only 2 of them are actually on the insurance? This stuff happens. It happens a lot. But hello, folks, that's called insurance fraud. Okay, yeah. And you can
know people that are already doing that.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So we oversee a lease program and the recruiting for a couple of our clients. And so I get a lot of calls every day, folks with trucks looking for a lease program. And so going through those conversations, okay, so you have your own authority, but you want to cook it. Okay. Yes. You've been running with this person under their authority. So how's it working out paying 2 insurances? Huh? Like, they simply just didn't quite understand that, even to operate under someone else's authority, they have to carry the automobile liability and the cargo policy. You still required for the bobtail insurance. And they just think, I have cargo, I have my own liability, I have my own insurances through my own company. I can just put his authority on my side of my truck and be good. And they don't quite understand that there's a lot of risk coming along with doing that. And quite simply, if information was a little easier to find, which is not difficult to find, let's be real, you can Google that and find out within a couple of minutes, but not everyone's good at that. And so it really is, there's so many avenues of the scams, of the fraud, that now we're seeing brokers who have dedicated lanes. Give me the deposit, you can have the lane. It's evolving. So what a piece of advice amongst many is you need to find yourself a partner if you're looking for a dispatch partner who's understanding of the evolution and who's willing to adapt to it.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard of this, put down a deposit for a lane bullshit. And I can't believe that people are falling for this tooth and nail. I've even caught some veterans who have fallen for it. And, it's sold to the veterans that are out there as, hey, market's changing, market's tight. And if you want in on the market, you have to buy in. I'm sorry, I bought in when I bought the truck and the insurance and the labor and the equipment. Come on, man. I got to pay for the lane too, just the privilege of putting a bid in. Are you kidding? I mean, it's insane. Guys, no broker does this. And if there is a broker that's out there doing that legitimately, I want to know who they are so we can go ahead and blast the crap out of them on social media. Insane. I want to talk to our guys here at the lounge. Are you guys running into situations like that?
Nope.
Do you have carriers talking to you about these things?
Nah, man, my drivers love me. I am long gone from the brokerage game, but I do have nightmares from dealing with those drivers, though.
I was about to sit there and ask you about a PGT load that I'm sitting here trying to get my hands on out in Chicago.
PGT, nah, man, we're PCT. Don't get us crossed up now.
I just thought about a really funny meme, and I'm gonna go.
What was that?
I just thought of a really funny meme.
Oh,
yeah.
You're not going to say
also hired Kelly to be boots on the ground to go knock down some doors. I would love to see that.
So, is PMA going to be represented over at Matt's this year?
PMA is not. PMA is yes, Hunter. Sorry, not this year. We're at Brown Summit, and just with the rapid growth and expansion, it just wasn't on the radar for this year. I'm more focused on continuing to develop the technological resources we're utilizing that not only help us find the best for our clients, fight the fraud for our clients, but it also streamlines the operation that allows me to continue to scale this business. So I'm focused on that and focused on the actual infrastructure itself, the offices, the equipment, the dispatchers, the training. And yeah, there's not much time to carve out for Matt's this year, but as we continue to grow and we start to really make that noise in this industry, then absolutely would love to be at Matt's.
Oh, can't wait. So as you have been scaling, you said you've been scaling over the course of the last year and a half, right?
So PMA's been around 3 years. The full-time growth has actually only been over the course of a year.
Wow. That's crazy. How do you control that? How do you manage that growth? I know for a lot of carriers out there and probably dispatchers as well, scaling is going to be an issue. I know tech is involved. I know staffing is involved. How did you overcome those initial challenges as you started to scale? Well, what was that path that led you to be what you guys are today?
Yeah, I like to say passion is at the forefront of all of it. I started doing this because as I said, I have a passion for this industry. I love moving freight. I spend half my day looking at trucks and trailers just to look. But as my dad used to say, and PMA is my dad's legacy. So it's my business. The business we conduct is my knowledge and experience over 15 years. But what PMA stands for is my dad's legacy. So as my dad used to say, there's no way to get through it but to get through it. And so facing these problems, yes, there's problems every day to face. There's obstacles, there's challenges, and you just run through it. Find the best way to get through it. Find the best way to avoid it in the future, and make it happen. So one day it may be in terms of a workload for a dispatcher. So let's find a way to streamline this so you can continue the workload without the stress. And so we're building resources. We're not just we're building resources. Let me rephrase the way I said that. Developing technology that's allowing us to streamline our operations, and that allows us to add more clients, the more dispatchers. The biggest thing is the training now. That's not only the task that takes the longest, but it takes the longest because there's just so much to know. And not saying I can train everyone to know everything. Hell, I do not know everything. I'm not even going to begin to say that. But I like to really make sure my folks know what to look for before we start building a book of business for them. Just because when any of our clients, new or well established, come to us looking for services, they're not just looking for another vendor. They're looking for a partner. They're looking for someone who can take their business, their livelihood, and help them make it happen. And so we're not just moving trucks. We're putting foods on not only the tables of our families, but the tables of the families of those who choose to partner with PMA. And part of the interviewing process with us and the onboarding and the training is just to simply instill the passion for that responsibility. It's got to be a passion. There's no other way to approach the responsibility that we endure every day.
Yeah, I have to echo that. The passion, I know, is what leads a lot of people in this industry. God knows I've seen a lot of people leave the industry, try to get into something else like insurance, and what do they end up selling? Commercial trucking insurance. This industry is one of those things that once you're in it and you get bit by the bug, you can't get out. It's like the mafia. And that's one of the things I really do love about it. But the passion is key to being able to understand what's going on around us and understand the fraud that takes place throughout. And that's something I think a lot of dispatchers who are out there, who are only here for a job, don't understand. And I'm glad that you try to instill that.
That's going to create failure for someone, and that's not our goal. If you're there for a job, you're looking at what you're billing out. And I don't want my team so concerned about what we're billing. I want my team concerned about the profitability of our clients. That's going to keep the industry running. That's going to keep us running, and that's going to give us all long-term partnership opportunities. And so that's one main focus that we have here at PMA, is trying to find the best way to allow our team to worry about the profitability of their book of business rather than their clients, I should say, rather than the money that's going in their pockets or the company's pockets.
Yeah, we've talked about two different groups of carriers that you deal with. We talk about the new guys, we talk about the veterans. So two-part question here. When you have either one calling you, what is the very first piece of advice that you would offer first to a veteran and then second to a new guy?
Okay. I'll start with the new guy. That's going to be the easiest one to answer here. I don't offer up any information, of course, as I said right away. The very first thing I say is, tell me about your business. I want to hear about them. I want to hear about their business. A lot of them will go in and tell me about their lives, what caused them to pursue this business. But the very first piece of advice I always give is, don't settle with me. I don't send out a contract on the first call. I actually ask most of our clients to take 24 hours to think about the decision. And in that 24 hours, minimally reach out to another minimally 2 providers offering the services that you're looking for. Because I not only do I want them to see what all is out there, but I want them to I want them to understand how to find the legitimacy. And so the second piece of advice goes with the first piece of advice, and that's just stop and ask questions. If you don't know what questions to ask, call me. Free. I don't charge for free conversation. There's 9 main guidelines the FMCSA gives dispatchers, or as they call us, so you can Google it, is bona fide agents. Look up the 9 guidelines for a bona fide agent. Every question you ask should follow those guidelines. And if there's something out of the some kind of discrepancy you find within the answers of the questions you're asking, then walk away. There's plenty of services out there. Do not, if you're not getting the warm and fuzzies, walk away. But again, all of this, I'm happy to go into further detail once we can have a conversation. But as educating the public in this industry is a priority of mine, please feel free to reach out, and I'm not going to sell you my service. I'm going to help guide you to the right partner.
And what about veterans? Well, what would you say to a veteran?
That's a harder one to answer. And I've been in this business 15 years, and sometimes veterans are hard as hell to talk to. There's a lot that I love. There's a lot that I don't. And so the biggest piece of advice is for veterans isn't simply about fraud. It will help deter fraud and avoid it, but it is to find some sort of passion to train the next generation, teach them. You don't like the way they're doing it. We see it on Facebook every day. So many complaints on Facebook about how they're taking cheap freight, or they're not doing this right, they're not doing that right. Well, they're asking for help, and veterans are just brushing it off and saying, if you don't know, you shouldn't be in this business. Teach them how to be in this business. And so that would be my advice for veterans.
Outstanding. Kate, you got anything here?
I feel like we literally touched on everything that I wanted to. So, I mean,
you got to interrupt me. I mean, come on. I wind up on a tangent, and then I just keep on rolling.
Tangents are fine. We still got 20 minutes, man.
Oh, don't I know it? Don't I know it? So, what would you say in terms of averages? Now we've all seen on Facebook make $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 for a box truck a week. What is a realistic expectation that carriers should have in this day and age? I don't think anyone ever really tries to nail this down. Would you be willing to dare to nail down what a expectation is?
Not in a number form. I will not. But what I will say is, and it's because the volatility of the market, man, it's so hard to lock that number down. And everyone wants to think the answer to that question is just a blanket answer, and there's so many variables that control that. We all know this. The more you can offer, the more you're going to make. Do not be a carrier who has a 25-foot hot shot, just straps, no tarps, no chains and binders. You can haul 6,500 pounds, and you want to be home every night. Do not call me saying you want to make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a week. So the more you can offer, the more you will make. Versatility in this industry is everything. Every little bit of service you can offer, every little bit of equipment you can offer, write it down. The longer the list, the better you're going to do.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I spend a lot of time dealing with box trucks and hot shots. I had my own box truck company for a while. And one of the things that I would tell my drivers, and I still tell my box truck drivers this, is when you arrive with a delivery to the dock, you want to get in and out of there as fast as you can. Grab your pallet jack and start pulling everything out yourself. You will never find a faster response on a dock by one of the dock workers until you start unloading your own truck in front of them. That usually gets them out pretty quick. So I tell all my clients, don't be afraid of the driver assist. Don't be afraid of, you have to drop it to the ground with your lift gate or something like that. Include that as part of the standard service, because being able to offer that sets you apart from other people who have the same equipment. And by the way, if you're running box trucks, you all have the same damn equipment,
And I hate to tell you, if you don't want the load, there's 70 more trucks in the 30-mile radius that wants that load. So we used to dispatch Sprinter vans. Jonathan Matz, he's my director of operations. He's my right-hand man. He already commented on one of these threads. He was the first Sprinter van I started dispatching, one of the only ones I started dispatching. As is one thing I quickly learned, and I knew this as a broker, but it was nice to see it from the other side. Sprinter vans, straight trucks, don't get them expecting a lot of opportunity and a lot of money. It's just the easiest entry points of this industry, and I can't even say it's oversaturated because I just don't think that carries enough weight. Quite like Sprinter vans. But yes, as a broker, when I post a load for a straight truck or a Sprinter van, I get 90 emails in 3 minutes, guys. So no, you can't respond to all of them. Yes, it's going to become a very transactional relationship. Now there is a relationship in there still. I do still work with a select few for these services, but in most cases, in an industry where brokers, predominantly all the brokers, And I say predominantly because most of them do. They even on Facebook they say they don't, but they're always chasing, especially on these services, chasing the lowest offer. And it's going to be about that. So my advice to those folks is don't buy them. Just simply don't buy them. Stay away from the straight truck and sprinter van operation. If you're going to do it, yes, then make sure you are providing a unicorn service so you can stand out.
Yeah, I like to think I've been fortunate. I've been dealing with box trucks the entire time. Again, I've had my own box truck company before I started dispatching, and what drives me insane is trying to find good paying loads. You see that one good paying load that pops up on the load board, it's up there for what, 20 seconds, maybe?
Yeah, it's quick.
You have to be on top of it, and catering to the box truck market for me as a dispatcher has been very profitable for me because I understand the market. I understand it very well. And I've gotten to the point where all my clients trust me because, as you pointed out, it's a partnership. It is a partnership, and they know that I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that there's food on their table for their family. And that's the direction that I always go. So I wholeheartedly agree with you. But what I don't understand is being on the broker side. Now, I was a broker for a short while. I was an agent with CRST, but I've never had a box truck or a hot shot load that I was pushing out. I was always full dry van or a full flat, and I still didn't have a load that stayed out on the boards more than 15 minutes. I don't know if it's because I offered too much money and I took too low of a margin. I don't know, but it's about taking care of other people. And if you're in this business and you're just trying to take care of yourself, you're part of the problem. At least that's the way I've always seen it.
Absolutely. Interesting. I'm actually my brokerage is an independent agency for CRST. So interesting you said that. So far, I'm loving it. I absolutely love CRST. Great company. Great program for agents. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But yeah, I had only one client, and that client had moved all 10,000 metric tons of freight out of the Savannah area. So I pretty much didn't have anything left after that. And because I'm dispatching all the time, I haven't done a lot of prospecting. I do have an open invitation from CRST to come back whenever I'd like, but I've never really entertained it. But no, I did not know you were CRST. That's good to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was actually CRST agent of the month in November, the Spotlight.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I came in making noise. It's a little easier. What I focus on through the brokerage is all project cargo. Break bulk, direct discharge, capital. So it's easy to make a little noise with it.
Oh, you are singing my tune, direct discharge. Most people do not know this. I'm a former stevedore. For those of you who don't know what a stevedore is, let's just better way to describe it is the supervisor of the longshoreman. Okay. So I used to unload cargo ships in Savannah, private facilities, not at the Georgia Port Authority. But oh my God, I used to love project cargo. I used to love different kinds of ship side work. I used to deal with ships that were doing 15,000 tons of steel coils coming off all day long. 80 different lots, have to keep them all sorted. Oh my, I loved that stuff. My God, I loved it. And the carriers that we worked with to haul that stuff back to our warehouses, top freaking notch. That is some very good stuff to get into if you can get into that as a carrier. I am so sorry. I am absolutely parched today, and I don't know why. Maybe you have too much celebrating from last night. I have been an Eagles fan since the day, and I'm really starting to date myself here, since the days of Ron Jaworski. And I don't know if anybody here is old enough to know who Ron Jaworski is. Anyone? Bueller.
I know the name. That's about it.
He was the quarterback that took the 1980 Eagles to their first Super Bowl.
Oh, I want to be twinkling God's eye yet.
Yeah, no, that was 1980s. And to see them finally go back again and then now win for the second time in a decade, I am just absolutely elated. Like I said, lifelong Eagles fan, not a fair weather fan. So get it right, folks. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent again. Forgive me. Okay, so we are getting ready to come down towards the end here. We've had quite a bit of comments from a lot of your customers and people who know you, and that's a great thing. I'm really glad to see that. You have one heck of a reputation in this industry. I think we can count on two hands the number of dispatchers we have spoken to who have excelled in the field of dispatching. Most of the time, people will evolve out of dispatching to go into brokerage exclusively, but now you're offering a full breadth of service to be able to encompass the whole thing. And that is a very brave thing to do. I've not seen anyone try to do that before, but your success is definitely well earned. The passion is unbelievable. Kate, I don't think you and I can pull that off.
Probably not. But I also don't want, I get sketched out at the idea of having like a huge team. I don't know what it is, but having a team of people that work for me. I mean, I've had like one person here and there that'll work for me, but I don't know, man. That just makes me nervous.
That boils down to trust and training, really.
There's not enough people I can trust, especially in this crap.
That's always been my problem. That's why I've been a one-man band the entire time I've been a dispatch service. And you know, I keep taking on more and more and more between the fraud fighting and commercial collections now and a couple other things. I have no desire to bring on employees. You know, I've been managing since my early 20s. I'm happy to be solo. I'm sorry to say. What made you want to scale to that level, though? I mean, like I said, that's brave.
So it was actually, again, none of this has been planned thus far. It's just I get an idea or I see an avenue that I want to go ahead and pursue, and I just go. So yeah, I put on Jonathan. He was one of my clients, dispatching a Sprinter brand for a while. He swung by my house here, swinging through North Carolina on his loads, and he'd stop here. We'd have some steaks and chill, talk, and we became good friends. And so he was very unhappy on the road. You know, driving's not for everyone. It's very hard, actually. Isolation alone is past, but then you add all the physical stress of being a driver in a commercial vehicle, and you're target on your back. Even in a Sprinter van, a strong gust of wind, and you're holding that steering wheel tight and just tensed up for hours on end. It's exhausting. It's hard to do. And so anyone who says drivers are just steering wheel holders, the hell with you, because you have obviously no idea. But now I saw he wanted to make a change. He clearly liked this industry, and so I said, just come work for me. I'll build you a book of business, and I did that. And then as I was starting to kind of see that evolution, honestly, I thought of all the bosses that I worked for and hated working for, whether it be the greed, the power that they abused, or one of the many things we hate about our bosses. And honestly, the stress of building a team went away because I just said I'm not going to be one of those. I'm not building this business to get wealthy. I'm building this business because I love the business we're conducting. So I make sure to take care of my team, and in turn, my team takes care of me and takes care of my clients. And so, honestly, the team I have built thus far, with the exception of a couple of bumps here and there, that they've made this journey easy in terms of the stress that you would normally have building a brand and trusting others with that brand on it. I trust all of my team with the PMA brand. They all take it to heart. I see the passion on their face every time I walk into the office, and they're just out there grinding for every carrier I have. I see it when they got to the office at 7 a.m. and here at 8, 9 p.m. they're still at the office because they have a truck or two that still needs to move. And my team understands that the livelihood of our clients depend on the work they're doing, and they take that to heart. And my team is amazing, and they've actually made it quite easy. Not only easy, but they've given me more motivation to continue scaling.
I really hope your team has been watching this, or at least watches this, because if I had a boss that would talk that way about his team back in the day, I might still be on that team. That's awesome to hear. I've heard it mentioned in management seminars over and over again throughout my life. People leave bad managers, not bad jobs. So that
Absolutely.
is fantastic to hear. I absolutely love it. We're going to start winding down now. I would like to give you an option to go ahead and give any final plugs that you'd like to go ahead and give. Floor is yours.
Absolutely. So, just short and sweet, PMA. If it's a service you've looked into, if you're whether it's your new carrier you need to get started, or um, you know you're in a bad situation now, please reach out. Again, won't try to sell you the service, but if it's something you're interested in, we can talk about it. When you partner with PMA, you're not just getting a dispatcher, you're getting a full outsourced operations management team. Um, everything from the freight securement to the brand building will help you scale your business. Everything we do is in the name of your business, and you get all of this at the same price, at the same rate as a dispatcher. We have found ways to streamline what we're doing so that we can offer a top tier service without breaking your bank. So we're passionate, we're good at what we do, and we love the opportunity to talk with anyone who's looking.
That is fantastic. I love to hear that. If you are in need of Chad and his services over at PMA, you can always email him at info@partnerwithpma.com. He is more than happy to talk to pretty much anybody, and it's definitely worth your time to at least stop and listen to him. Before we continue, well, I got sidetracked for a second here. Let me go ahead and reach over to our friends over at the lounge. You guys got any parting shots here before we start wrapping it up? Connor?
Chad, you're the man. Good to see you back in the loop of things. Yeah, hey, I don't know if you knew this, John, but Chad used to be a part of the original lounge.
He had mentioned he was one of the very first guests.
Yes, and then he became sometimes Chad. He would sometimes come and co-host with us, so it was fun.
So that's where the sometimes Chad came from.
Yeah, these two gentlemen, they're grinders, man. I couldn't keep between my business and the great things they're doing. I couldn't keep up.
Oh, you're having a baby and stuff too, man. But it is awesome to see how your business is growing and what you're doing now, man. So shout out to you, John, Kate. Shout out to y'all. I am a little bit mad that we didn't get one of those cool flyer things like Chad just had a second ago. If Rob and I could get that for every time we do come on the show, that would be excellent. But other than that, no real updates.
Fair enough. You could have mentioned that backstage, but that's okay. Fine. I'll be nice to you. All right. Fine. Embarrass me live. That's cool.
No, dude,
Pedro.
I like it. It's good. It's good.
Pedro, any shots?
No, bro. I don't have nothing. Just like Hunter said, Chad, it's just good to see your face. I mean, we all three talk pretty often. So I mean, we're all doing. But John, I'm glad that you and Chad got connected, and you had Chad on the show, man. He's a good guy. He's a good friend. I met him through Hunter, and Chad's helped me out with some stuff. Matter of fact, Chad is possibly going to do some business with a audience member / friend of the lounge. So, yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah,
the connections here, thanks to the lounge, always a good thing, and we see new connections every day. Because of what the lounge has been able to put together. So always glad to be working with you guys. Kate, you got anything?
Yeah, two things. I think it's really interesting how coincidentally you just kind of like come into contact with other do-gooders in the industry, even though it's so saturated with like try hard,
Be-gooders.
fraudsters. Yes, but the we always end up coming into contact with people who are just like, oh yeah, I know that person. Oh yeah, me too. Like it's crazy because there's so many people in here, but when you're actually out to help people and you're good at what you do, you meet so many other people that are good at what they do, and they're good to have in your corner, and it's really interesting. And off of that, since we talked about new authorities today, another good thing is to know your costs.
Do you know your cost per mile? Have you been hitting your profit margins? Do you struggle with bidding in a way that is both profitable and competitive? Would it be worth it to have all this information right in front of you? By calculating your cost per mile, AccuBid Pro helps you stay profitable in an industry still struggling to recover. In order to calculate your cost per mile, AccuBid Pro asks you questions about your business expenses. Our goal is to help you understand what you need to keep operating in order to keep up with the game and maintain your business. Enter your origin and destination, and we show you what you should bid based on your personal cost per mile in order to be profitable, even including a more detailed breakdown of each bid. Download the app today and get your 30-day free trial of AccuBid Pro, available on the App Store and Google Play. Bid smarter, bid faster, bid better with AccuBid Pro.
I loved that segue, Kate. Well done. I love that. That was great. All right, folks. One thing that I do want to put out there, a little bit of a programming note, on live on Thursday this week at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to check out the what the heck was it? I just had it up here and I lost it. I cannot believe it. Oh my God. How did I do that? Again, you got to love the live stuff. There is a freight fraud panel that's going to be out and about talking about fraud in the industry. These are probably some of the biggest fraud fighters in the industry coming together to have a frank discussion about some new techniques that we're trying in order to help secure the industry from fraud. 2 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Go to my LinkedIn page. You'll be able to get the live stream off of that. And if I don't have the live stream on it, I will at least have a link on there to the live stream, and you can check that out. One of the things that I do want to highlight is our new hashtag Freight Fraud Task Force. Check that out on LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. This is something you're going to see a lot of over the course of the next couple of months. You're going to want to get acquainted to that and keep an eye on it because some big things are starting to happen. Remember, Stop the Scam is live every Monday, 5 p.m. Central Time. And you can catch us on all the Lounge Media Group social media outlets. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you have an issue, make sure you reach out to Kate at kprice@stopthescampodcast.com, or you can get myself, the Double Broker Bounty Hunter, at jcantera@stopthescampodcast.com. Got a couple more winter storms blowing across the country throughout the week, so please, dear God, stay careful out there, and whatever you do, don't let scammers take you for a ride. We'll see you all next week.